Hey everybody, this is Mike from Muscle for Life and Legion Athletics, and in this video podcast, I want to talk about flexible dieting. And of course, this is something I have written a lot about and I have spoken about in previous podcasts and previous videos, but I wanted to put together a concise video that breaks down what flexible dieting is, how it works, and how to use it to not only get the body that you really want, but to keep the body that you really want for the long term. So what is flexible dieting? Well, first, it is not a diet in the way that most people think of diets, right? So it is a diet in dictionary sense. It's simply a way of eating food, but it is not a way of eating that you do to lose weight or to detox your body. I guess those are probably the two main reasons why people go on diets, right? Either to lose weight or to somehow improve their health. And flexible dieting, sure, you can use it to lose weight and you can use it also to improve your health, but you can also use it to just maintain your weight, or you could even use it to gain weight. So what flexible dieting is then is it's simply a way of eating that is based on some simple scientific principles, some fundamentals of the human metabolism. So you have energy balance, which is the relationship between the number of calories or the amount of energy, right, as measured in calories that you're eating versus the amount of energy that you are burning, which of course can also be measured in calories. And you also have macronutrient balance. So how do those calories that you're eating break down into the three primary macronutrients, which are protein, carbs, and fat? And finally, food choices. So where are you getting your calories and your macros, as they're called, from? What foods are you eating? And what flexible dieting allows you to do then is it allows you to use those things, energy balance, macronutrient balance, and food choices, to manipulate your body composition as you desire. So you can use those things to lose fat. You can set up your diet in a way that will allow you to lose fat and not muscle, or, at least if you are going to lose muscle, it's going to be as little as possible. You could set your diet up when you are flexible dieting to just maintain your body composition. So you're not really going to gain much muscle to speak of. You are not going to gain much fat to speak of. And of course, you're not going to be losing fat or muscle either. You're just going to kind of maintain a state of homeostasis, I guess you could say. And then also you can use those three factors to set your diet up so you can maximize muscle gain and minimize fat gain. So those are the scientific underpinnings of flexible dieting: energy balance, macronutrient balance, and food choices. And then you have 4 points that I guess comprise an outline of sorts that kind of comprise the core philosophy of flexible dieting, how you use those fundamentals. And the first one is, as far as your body composition goes, how much you eat is more important than what you eat. So in other words, in terms of your body fat percentage, in terms of how much lean mass that you have, how many calories you're eating every day, and how those calories break down into protein, carbs, and fats is more important than the foods that you are eating to get those calories and to get those macros. Now, as far as long-term health goes and not getting diseases and dying goes, of course, the foods that you eat matters. You want to be getting the majority of your calories from relatively unprocessed, highly nutritious foods. That goes without saying. But as far as body composition goes, it really does not matter. And there's something to be said for body composition and health too, of course. Just being muscular, having above average muscularity and below average body fat levels is very healthy. It's conducive to good health. So that's the first point. As far as body composition goes, how much you're eating is more important than what you're eating. So the second point here is you should tailor your daily food choices to your preferences, your goals, and your lifestyle, which means that you should be eating foods that you like every meal, every day. You should be looking forward to every meal, even when you are dieting to lose weight or dieting to lose fat. And when you start to view foods more quantitatively than qualitatively, meaning when you start to view foods more in terms of calories and macronutrients as opposed to good or bad foods or healthy or unhealthy foods, it makes it very easy to do that. It makes it very easy to eat foods that you like every meal of every day. And that's really what you want for long-term sustainability. Even when you are dieting to lose weight, you should be eating foods that you like every meal of every day. Now, of course, that doesn't mean you should be eating pizza, Pop-Tarts, and ice cream every day, or you should be getting half of your calories from junk food like that every day. Hopefully there are foods that you like that are also relatively nutritious. And, if you don't like, for example, if you don't really like fruits, if you don't really like vegetables, if you don't like whole grains, if you don't like nuts, and these are the types of relatively unprocessed foods that you want to be at least getting several servings of each day, then just force yourself to eat them over and over, and you will come to like them. There was, I think it was it a movie or was it a TV series? I think it was a TV series. I didn't see it, but I heard about it, where it was one of these celebrity chefs who actually, it may have been a book actually. Regardless, what this guy did is he made a list of all the foods that he hated, and he basically, over the course of a year, made himself eat them over and over and over. And a lot of the foods were pretty gross, actually, like monkey brains and snails and cow balls and shit, stuff that you would really never want to eat anyway. But what he found is, after eating pretty much anything about 8 times, he actually came to like it. And we can do the same thing. So if you don't like green vegetables, for example, not that you have to eat any specific green vegetable, but it is smart to include some dark, leafy green type of vegetable in your diet. So let's say, for me, I like spinach. Let's say you don't like spinach. If you, 1, just get some recipes, learn how to cook it in a way maybe that makes it more palatable to you. And then 2, just eat it over and over. You will come to like spinach. Ultimately, though, if spinach is not your thing and you prefer something else that is dark and green, then sure, just go with that. Again, coming back to this point, tailor your food choices to your preferences, to your goals, and to your lifestyle. Make the diet work for you. Make your food choices work for you. Again, with flexible dieting, there is no individual food that you simply can't eat or any individual food that you have to eat. Okay, so the third pillar here in the philosophy of flexible dieting is to forgive your dietary lapses and simply keep calm and carry on. Now, one of the great things about flexible dieting is it makes it easier to stay on track. It makes it harder to fall off the wagon, mostly because you are eating foods that you like. And also, it allows you to eat foods that other styles of dieting don't allow. So again, if you're getting, let's say, 80% of your daily calories are coming from relatively unprocessed and nutritious foods, you can do whatever you want with those other 20% of calories. So if that means some ice cream for you, great, have some ice cream. If that means a cookie or two, have the cookie or two. For me, I like dark chocolate. So that would be, my 20%. Now, I would say I probably get 90 to 95% of my daily calories from just relatively unprocessed nutritious foods. And I do have some dark chocolate every day. I just don't have much of a sweet tooth. I'm not into fast food or junk food. I just don't really care. But if I wanted to allot more of my daily calories to stuff that doesn't really have any nutritional value, it's just nice to eat, you can. Now, when we are dieting to lose fat, and especially when we have a fair amount of fat to lose, so it's going to take a fair amount of time, we should expect to slip up now and then. We should expect that we are going to end up eating too much of one thing or another here and there. It's going to happen. And the nice thing about flexible dieting is because, again, it is based on scientific principles of how the human metabolism works, you can know that it's really not that big of a deal. So what? All right, you ate, 2,000 calories, let's say, over your target in a day. And, I wouldn't say that's necessarily a binge, but it might feel like a binge. Now, many people out there that just follow different types of fad diets, they feel so bad when they do that because they don't understand what's going on in their bodies. They just know that, their diet says that if you eat sugar, it's going to be stored as fat. Every gram of sugar that you eat is going to be stored as fat. So then when they eat a bunch of sugar, they think that they have no idea how, they think maybe they just set themselves back. Maybe now they've screwed up their metabolism. Even not only have they set themselves back and gained back all the fat that they lost, but now they, set off a whole chain of events inside their body that's going to make it impossible to continue losing fat. And that, of course, makes them feel even worse, which then it leads to more overeating. And that then, of course, can spiral out of control. And then they've given up and they really have gained back, let's say, all of the fat that they lost when they were sticking to the diet strictly. and maybe even more. Now with flexible dieting, because you actually understand how the metabolism works, you understand that, again, all right, so you ate 2,000 calories more than you planned, or let's say you ate 5,000 calories more. You know that it's really just not that big of a deal, because you really can't gain that much body fat in a single day, regardless of how much food that you eat. And if you ate only a couple thousand calories over your target, you will not gain more than, let's say, a quarter pound of fat. And depending on where those calories came from and depending on what type of exercise you're doing, you might gain so little fat that it's actually negligible. And in the 5,000 calorie scenario, 5,000 calories above your target, let's say, you can gain, a quarter to maybe a half a pound, depending on, again, where those calories came from and how active you are, what type of exercise you're doing, and so forth. Regardless, even if you did gain a half a pound of fat in a day, you know that that's really not that big of a deal, because it only takes, let's say, for most people, most conditions, most circumstances, 3 or 4 days to lose a half a pound of fat. So really all you've done is you've added 3 or 4 days to your diet. Big deal. And that's why the flexible dieting mindset is to expect slip-ups. They're going to happen. Just set up, in your mind a little if-then trigger when you are dieting to lose weight, that if you slip up and if you eat more than you planned on eating, then shrug it off and keep going, because it's just not that big of a deal. Okay, so the fourth and final pillar of flexible dieting is long-term compliance is the key to sustainable improvements. And really what this comes down to is the old saw, the best diet is the one that you can stick to. And there's a lot of truth there. It really captures the essence of successful dieting, because if you can stick to the plan well enough, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be good enough for long enough, then you can reach your goal. And the idea with flexible dieting is that it is not a quick fix. It is a long-term solution to controlling your body composition and controlling your health. In many ways, it's quite similar actually to how most people eat. Most people don't give much thought as to what they're eating beyond what do they feel like eating. And so they don't understand calories, they don't understand macronutrients, they don't understand how the metabolism works. They just eat the foods that they feel like eating when they feel like eating them. Flexible dieting just reins that in. It gives that some structure, it gives that some guidelines. It says that, sure, you can eat foods that you like, and you should be eating foods that you like, but you should also keep these things in mind. You should keep energy balance in mind, and you should understand how that affects your body. You should keep macronutrient balance in mind and understand how that affects your body. You should keep your food choices in mind and understand how that affects your body, and particularly your long-term health. And in the end then, what you get is you get an eating plan, I guess you could say, that checks all of the boxes. An eating plan that allows you to eat the foods that you like and eat them when you like, because that doesn't matter. When you eat carbs, for example, whether you're eating them first thing in the morning or right before you go to bed, doesn't matter as far as your body composition goes. And that also, though, has energy balance working for you, has macronutrient balance working for you, meaning that you have your calories and your macros set up in accordance with your goals, whether you are trying to lose fat or just maintain or gain muscle. And lastly, when you do it right, your eating plan gives your body enough nutrition to stay healthy. And that is also a lot easier to do than many people think. Really what it comes down to is eating a couple servings of both fruit and vegetables every day, throw in some whole grains and throw in some healthy fats. My favorite sources of healthy fat are monounsaturated sources like avocado and nuts, for example, and you're there. And in terms of which fruits and vegetables, if you just eat anything that you like, that's better than nothing. If you really want to optimize your diet, you can get very specific and say, okay, so include some colorful fruits like blueberries, for example, or strawberries, because the pigments in particular are very good for the body. And as far as vegetables go, including a variety of vegetables in your diet, for example, onions, garlic, mushrooms, cruciferous vegetables, dark leafy greens, because all of them are going to provide differing amounts of essential nutrients, but they also provide certain molecules that are hard to get otherwise, that are good for your body, that promote good health. But you don't even have to go that far if you don't want to. If you just stick to the simple guidelines of getting about 80% of your daily calories from relatively unprocessed, nutritious foods. So again, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, lean protein, and then the remaining 20% you do whatever you want with, you're doing it right. So that's flexible dieting in a nutshell. Now, if you want to give it a go, you want to do it, then you have to first figure out how many calories you should be eating. And then you have to figure out how those calories should break down into macronutrients. And then you have to take your calories and your macros and turn those into a meal plan, actual specific foods that you're going to eat. And to help you do that, I have an article that I wrote on flexible dieting that has a calculator that will help you figure out your calories and your macros, and also breaks down the meal planning process and links out also to another article, more in-depth article I wrote on meal planning in particular. And it should just be right up here. So if you just click this little link up here, it'll take you to the article, and just scroll down. If you want, you can read the whole thing. This, though, discussion that I just had kind of summarizes all the information in the article. So if you want to just skip straight to the calculator, it's about the midpoint, 3/4 point through the article, you have a calculator that will help you figure out your calories and your macros. And then if you keep reading, it will help you turn those things into a meal plan. So that's it for the video. I hope you liked it. And if you did, please do give it a like, and also drop a comment down below and let me know what you thought. And also share your experiences with flexible dieting, maybe versus other types of diets you've tried, because this would be the topic for another video. But flexible dieting is not necessarily best for everyone. I've come across people, because I've worked with thousands and thousands of people over the years, that actually do better with a more restrictive kind of clean eating approach, where you're just simply not allowed to eat certain types of foods. Because if they are allowed to eat those foods, let's take sugar, for example. In flexible dieting, you can have some sugar. Now, you wouldn't want to have too much sugar, of course, because then too many of your calories would be coming from junk foods. But you can have some sugar. Some people don't do well with that setup. For some people, if their junk calories for the day are going to come from ice cream, let's say, they're going to have a quarter of a pint of ice cream after dinner. That's what they've allotted themselves. That's their little treat for the day. There's nothing wrong with that, but some people struggle to keep it at a quarter pint. For some people, that turns into a half a pint or 2 pints too frequently. And so for those people, sometimes the best diet, the one that they can stick to best, is a sugar-free diet. Anyways, share your experiences down below. How has flexible dieting worked for you or not worked for you? Let us know. Oh, and last but not least, hit the red subscribe button and click the little bell next to it if you want to be notified when my next video goes live. It's free, of course, and it is very encouraging to me. All right, see you in the next video.